I'm Aoife Duffy. I'm Audrey Lauer.
I'm Grace Sportson.
I'm McCord Green.
I'm Sasha Mayer, and we're doing our presentation on light pollution. On January 17, 1994, a massive earthquake hits the city of Los Angeles. The damage causes a blackout all over the city, and the 911 emergency line is flooded with calls from frightened citizens. Many of these panicky callers were reporting a strange silver cloud hovering above the city. It's unsettling to realize that the effects of light pollution were so prevalent, even in 1994, that they created this kind of reaction to seeing the Milky Way. Wasteful artificial light use has plagued America since the invention of commercial light, and was the reason the people of Los Angeles had never seen the Milky Way until the 1994 blackout. This obscurity surrounding light pollution is one of the reasons it is a growing problem in America. The main form of light pollution is excess spill light, known as spill light. And spill light can cause light trespass, which is the presence of light where it is unwanted, glare, which is visual discomfort created by excess spill light, and sky glow, which is the brightening of the night sky created by reflected light.
Though they may seem insignificant, the consequences of light pollution have serious implications on the economy, human health, and the environment. Since the invention of the first commercial light bulb by Thomas Edison in 1879, artificial light has become a crucial aspect of our modern society. We live by the glow of street lights, car headlights, it's even in our shoes. In this day and age, we can't imagine living without artificial lighting.
It is obvious that light has evolved in extraordinary ways, but what goes unknown are the negative consequences of increased light use in America. Not only are lights damaging our ecosystem and wasting our nation's funds, but they are also destroying the darkness. This image represents what is hidden behind every light-polluted sky. As a society, we're so focused on moving forward that we've forgotten how to appreciate simple things like the Milky Way. As Bill Watterson illustrated in his comic, Cabin in Hobbs, if people sat outside and looked at the stars each night, I'll bet they'd live a lot differently. How so? Well, when you look into infinity, you realize there are a lot more important things than what people do all day. Although the evolution of light is responsible for the modernization of society, it is producing negative effects that are outweighing the benefits.
So we recognize that light pollution doesn't seem very harmful. We can't see the stars at night, it's not the end of the world, right? In reality, it's this kind of mindset about light pollution that leads it to have the potential to be so dangerous. The consequences of light pollution have serious implications for the environment on all ecological levels. Let's look at sea turtles. Once hatched, baby sea turtles crawl across the beach at night, trying to reach the safety of the water. Frequently, however, they get turned completely around and head away from the safety of the ocean. So why would the turtles go against all of their natural instincts? It's because of light pollution. The bright lights near the city shore disorient and redirect the turtles' natural instinct until they're headed for almost certain death. In this way, we see that sea turtles, as well as populations of birds and amphibians, are acting as indicator species for the dangers of light pollution, dangers that we're beginning to see affect the composition of entire communities.
At the base of all ecosystems, there are always producers, like plants, supporting all the higher level species. The fact that light pollution can affect plants directly is therefore especially concerning. A paper written by scientists from the Institute of Environment and Sustainability at Exeter University described the many effects of artificial light on plants. Artificial light can cause the retention of leaves on trees, early bud burst, and growth enhancement and inhibition, all of which affect the normal cycles of plant growth. Light pollution can also affect species themselves. Besides individual indicator species like sea turtles, light pollution disrupts the entire structure of communities, or the community composition. A study led by Thomas Davies showed that communities receiving artificial street light had a different community composition than those unaffected by street light. The study concluded that a more fixed change had occurred because of street light in these communities, a change that wasn't just there at night, but all the time. So it's these kinds of changes in the structures of ecosystems and communities, changes that might be permanent, that are most concerning for the balance of wildlife and the environment.
As we can see, light pollution clearly affects the ecosystem, but it also affects human health. Ensuring that everyone lives a long and healthy life is very important, although the overproduction of artificial light at night can disrupt that. Take melatonin for an example. Melatonin is a hormone in the body that is produced at night. The overuse of artificial light at night causes a decrease in melatonin, which is threatening to one's health. It can possibly lead to cancer through a disrupted circadian rhythm. Everybody naturally has a circadian rhythm, which is the daily biological cycles which determines when sleeping and eating patterns.
Increased lighting at night changes the natural 24-hour light cycle, which can cause many problems, which is the thrown off of the rhythm, leading to sleep disorders and other effects on the body. Ultimately, these changes can lead to a change in gene expression and cancer.
In one form or another, the entire population experiences artificial light after sunset. However, night shift workers endure far greater levels of this kind of light. As declared by the World Health Organization, this means that both the melatonin production and circadian rhythms of these workers are being disrupted and resulting in probable carcinogens.
Light pollution in American cities also creates high electricity costs, an economic harm which is impossible in a productive economy. More than 50% of light from non-cutoff streetlights shines in unwanted areas, yielding that light useless. However, this causes the brightening of the night sky, and most importantly, wasted energy. $11.6 billion were spent on outdoor lighting, 3.5 billion of which ultimately went to waste.
The streetlights that Makora just talked about, as well as all other kinds of outdoor lighting, have led to environmental degradation, like we discussed earlier. This means that large amounts of money must go towards solving the consequences of light pollution. At the Oxford Academy Journal of Experimental Botany and many other such research facilities, millions of dollars have been poured into finding solutions, but this takes a toll on the economy. Many of these research sponsors have reallocated funds from solving other important issues into solving the consequences of light pollution, which limits the amount of money stimulating research in the American economy.
One of the main reasons so much money is being put into these streetlights is because it provides a proposed benefit of a sense of safety for its citizens, though streetlights have not been shown statistically to decrease crime rates. Multiple studies, such as this one in London, have found no evidence to support the hypothesis.
Even as it creates the consequences we just talked about, lighting at night can provide benefits to society. No one can deny the huge advantage of being able to work 24 hours a day, attract new customers to your business, or use streetlights and headlights to increase visibility. Despite this, all of the economic, environmental, and human health harms will only increase in the future as light pollution spreads. Solutions range from changing the architecture of outdoor lighting to dark sky preservations. All potential solutions have obstacles, of course, or they would already be in practice, but any obstacle can be overcome with enough dedication.
One proposed solution would be mandatory blackout days to raise awareness for the issue. Though an effective way to get everyone's attention, majority of the population will resent such an intrusion on their professional and personal lives. A large-scale blackout could also cause some safety issues. With no institution to impose such a blackout, this proposal is impossible.
Dark sky preservations are another solution. First seen in Canada in 1999, they are areas of land set aside to ensure protection against all pollution. Unfortunately, people tend to dislike preservations because they waste land that could be used for development. However, benefits include protecting the integrity of ecosystems within the preservations and allowing scientific fields like astronomy and ecology to research land free of pollution. While they benefit the area of land they protect, they don't do a lot for the rest of the country. Therefore, dark sky preservations are a good idea, but they don't do enough to be considered the best solution.
The most effective solution, however, is changing the way our lights are designed. When we change the architecture of outdoor lighting in the proper way, it can mean less light pollution, less energy waste, and less money lost all at the same time. For example, an experiment done by the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute comparing 3 different types of lighting at a gas station found that using cutoff lights reduced light trespass and glare, even while attracting a higher percentage of customers to the station. Designing all lights to be cut off, like the lights in the gas station experiment, provides the same economic and environmental benefits.
Even though changing the architecture of outdoor lighting is an initial cost, it's the most effective way to prevent the effects of light pollution. Thus, because it can be applied everywhere and is beneficial to the economy, human health, and the environment, changing the architecture of outdoor lighting is the best solution to our posed question.
In conclusion, the ever-increasing demand for outdoor lighting in the United States means the ever-increasing consequences of light pollution, including degrading the environment, endangering human health, and wasting billions of dollars lighting unintended areas. Considering these harms, the benefits of increased light use do not outweigh the consequences of light pollution. They shouldn't stand in the way of us taking action to protect future generations by changing the architecture of outdoor lighting, an investment that will pay off in the long run.
Thank you. just a couple of questions. Aoife, we'll start with you. Describe how the content of the team presentation was changed as a result of group discussion.
Well, we actually had to change a little bit of our presentation because of the time limit that we had. So we actually had to cut a little bit about astronomers. It showed how it affects them, light pollution affects how they see the sky at night. So that was one thing that we had to change about our presentation.
Thank you. Dree, how did the group decide to include Grace's perspective, lens, or conclusions into the overall presentation?
Well, Grace's lens was actually really important to our overall presentation because she had the futuristic lens. And we talked a lot about what light pollution has done in the past and what it's doing right now. But light pollution isn't just important now, it's important in the future because it's changing a lot of how our society runs and it's going to continue changing that. And so talking about the implications of light pollution was really important.
Thanks. Makara, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem your group identified?
Again, I would say Grace's futuristic lens had a big impact on my personal opinions and view on this because she analyzed the future outcomes of light pollution on the environment and on the economy as well, but mostly focusing on solutions to problems.
Thank you. And Sasha, what is an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' individual reports that you decided to exclude from your team presentation and why?
Well, for the social lens, we had a part about fatigue and how people who have disrupted circadian rhythms, they get tired earlier. Their whole cycle is thrown off. They get fatigued, and then they can't perform as well at their jobs, especially for airline pilots and surgeons, and people who have to be alert in their job. And we decided to cut that out because we already established that circadian rhythm, disrupts our normal cycles, and we kind of felt that, being fatigued would be part of that, implied in that, so we cut it out.
Thank you. And last, Grace, in what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
I think that my ability to work with a group in the area of flexibility was improved a lot by this project because we all ended up having a lot of scheduling conflicts in order to get together outside of class, and so we all just kind of had to be very flexible in our times that we were able to meet and be flexible in what we're even putting in the content of the presentation itself because we all had very different opinions kind of in the beginning and they all came together. So I think flexibility was the biggest area.